It's harvest time. Time for a walkabout tour in the abundance of the permaculture orchard. Stay tuned. Oh, wow. I gotta try some of these. Good morning, good morning. We had our first frost this morning, light frost, around the pool. But I realized it's fall time pretty well. It's coming, and I realized it's time to do a walkabout again. We'll do a fall harvest time walkabout. So we're September 19th, and we've had a crazy season. The harvest has simply been the best one we've ever had to date. Let me just turn that. We've been picking. Members have been picking. I mean, look at the fruit loads on these things. If you go see that abundance video, we really have had. It's been such a blessing. It's been crazy this year. I should just show you the grapes, because the grapes have been, it's staggering. Just the amount of fruit this year has been really, really great. And the quality, which we haven't had fruit in the past, lots, but the quality, there have been insect damage and so on, has been at times. Well, the frost didn't hit up here in the front. Let me just show you we've had this kiosk going. Check that out. So this is our, people pay here and they can get change in here, and they just pick what they want and they pay for it. You know, I really believe that if we sow trust, we'll reap honesty. We have our $1 each pears, and there are almost none left because it's handy. If somebody comes by, they just pick up a pear. When we did the math on it, we realized, what, $1 a pear? And then we looked at our baskets and we said, wow, when we look at the number of pears, it's 6 pears for $7, so $1 pear ends up being worthwhile. Just wanted to show you these grapes though. Look at these grapes starting here. I mean, the grapes in here are crazy grapes. So it's morning, it's early morning. People are headed off to work in the big city, I guess, some of them. And the parking, check this parking out, well tracked, because we had our busiest open day for picking we've had ever. Busiest and also biggest, especially when it's plum season. We sell our plums at $5 a pound, and so when plums are out, look at this plum tree here. There's nothing left here. You have to go up to the top to actually get. So we've been letting people use the poles to pick some fruit. These are not, they're okay. Some of them are not too nice. Look at that. That's certainly, that's buggy. Some apple maggot fly damage. And yeah, some in here are, look at this, you know, that's Empire, really looking nice. A few of the pears, just amazing. So yeah, everything that people could pick, especially as they come in from the parking's here, and so they just turn around and look, and oh my God, that's planned, that's design. How do you do it? Well, you gotta think, what will catch people. So this is our showcase row here, right along the parking. Showcase meaning we want to have some variation in color. We want to have variation in species. It's still trios, but we actually planned this row. This is our last harvest row. This is actually not, there is some that are later, but this is early October, and we can pick these up to middle of October, no problem. And the goal is that as people come in, there's always all this fruit here, and we alternate. So we'll have really red popping empires, then we'll have some pear. So here's some Anjou pear, and so we get a bit of contrast in color, so that's an important design feature. And then we get into something like this, golden russet. So you see that's golden. And so the color change is important. So people driving by, here's the road right here. So people driving by will go, oh, look at all the fruit in there. And if you look, I'll get you a little closer to the road. If you just look from the road, you don't really see it because it doesn't show up that way, but you see all the fruit in the trees. So you can plan and design your trios and your planting so that it attracts attention. Please don't put your earliest row at, oh look, no, people didn't even come this far. So the parking here hasn't been that filled up this far. We got room for 25 cars. So I don't eat breakfast nowadays, so I'll just have a little snacker. And see, you know, the only thing wrong with these plums, and if you saw that original video about the Permaculture Orchard or 5 acre whatever by Olivier, go see that one. And I did say a really good sentence in there that still hits me when I said the only thing wrong with these plums is that you can never eat just one, and it still applies. They're really at their peak right now. So yeah, people who come and try these, I know they're hooked. You go, well, that's amazing. Look at these Asian pears here. So that's a young, overgrafted tree. Let's see that going all the way down. And see, there's the graft point. So that was a rootstock, I don't even remember what we had put there originally, but overgrafted it to Asian pears. And these plums, this one's been a bit picked, but really, it's just so enjoyable to walk through when it's a good year. And this is not just a good year, this is a great year. This is going to be for the history books. Mind you, this orchard, it's 11 years old, so I'm going to go in the shade a little bit. It's nice in the sun this morning. I'll see, maybe we can still catch some of the frost on the ground. One of the neat things is frost doesn't hit everywhere. It was a light frost. It's just the first frost of the year, but still. And it only hits in the open areas. Frost like this won't hit at all in the rows. The trees provide plenty of protection from the early frost. So if some of you have been catching the other walkabouts, you'll see a bit of the change. We really have to move the chickens already, but we wanted them to clean up around here. Hey girls, say hello. So they've done a great job. I have been filming some things about the chickens, and I hope to get more, hope to put it together. Got a lot of things filmed. Haven't put out a lot. I'm saving some of them for winter, actually, because in the winter it gets a little quiet. Which rows do I take you down? I'll take you down We had a tour this weekend, and if some of you have not taken the tour or come for the tour, take a chance. We'll have next year, we'll have so this is it for this year, no more tours. We have the fall harvest tour and the spring tour. Let's see, turn this like that. We picked, look at these, all picked out, these plums. So we've been picking, and people have been picking a lot of harvest. So we've been cleaning out. We're trying to clean out. These rows are August rows, so they're mostly picked out. We found one tree that actually, there's more than one tree that isn't in the right row. But this one is really for mid-September now. And we have never been able to try it. So we tried it yesterday. We did a walkabout, the crew. Right now it's James is here from Montana. Sebastian's here from Germany. Miladzi's gone on vacation. We had a great crew, really, really great cruise this year. And so we did a walkabout just to orient for the rest of the season. So that's one of the, go see the original Walkabout. Why do you do a walkabout? And we did that to just orient, know what's coming up, what we did. Look at this. Is that a fruit load? I mean, this one, there's a tag here. Prima. I don't know all the trees. I don't know most of them, in fact. But that's the purpose. So we tried to situate what we've got to do. Oh, Bodog is being busy. She can smell. I mowed in here a little bit. She can smell. There's probably a vole under this plastic. So this area here, from these trees on, this part of this block has has little squares around each tree, and this one has plastic along the full rows. So if some of you want to really get a look at the controversy about plastic, oh my God, that's not right in the orchard, go see the virtual tour. So I was saying there's 2 tours a year. We just did the fall harvest tour. There'll be one next spring blossom tour. Hopefully this year we won't be off, or rather next year we won't be off on the date. This year we were really off on the date. We're 10 days and we're still running pretty well 10 days late. Plums should normally be done by now, and they're at their absolute peak, and I gotta eat one because I'm holding them and they're calling to me. Oh wow, look at that. That's so nice. My hands are stained. We dried a whole batch of plums yesterday, and so the skin will actually stain when you handle. We did 20 pounds of plums, did one dryer. We've been saving seed, so we've got thousands now, pretty well thousands of seeds. We wanted to have at least 1,000 of plums, 1,000 of pears, and 1,000 of apples, because we're going to seed our next orchard. And depending on the crew next spring, if you're interested, get in touch with me. It's hard to get in touch with me, but if you figure out how, we'll seed our next orchard block, and that's going to be exciting. So I was just saying, if you haven't taken the virtual tour, we do talk about plastic in there, and we've been working on. He's put together most all of the pruning course, so that's coming up. And I'm really pleased with it. I like it. I watch it and I go, this is really good. I mean, yeah. So if you're interested, if you do pruning, pay attention and stay focused for a pruning course, which we'll have, and it'll be online. It really will help you if you struggle with pruning. And even if you know pruning, honestly, I never get enough of learning how other people do, and it's really great to learn about pruning. Let me have this other plum. In our biotope, see how busy our bees have been? They've been busy as bees. Look how full that is. So in here, the woodpeckers have opened up these, so that's why we have to screen them. That's so good. We've had the blue jays really busy in the orchard. They're here for the hazelnuts right now, mostly. Here's a hazelnut in the rows, and it's picked off. Some of these, they just clean them right out. The birds are starting to come back. They've kind of been gone for a good part of the season. Since after they nested, then they tended to have left the orchard for a while, and now they're coming back. We're getting migrants coming in. Go see that team bird video to give you an idea of how important the birds are in here. These rows we're picking, so there's some fruit drop in there. But otherwise, these pears are this weekend, or it's done. It's now or bust. And so, yeah, there's still some branches with some fruit. We've had to flag. Milledzy got stung last week, and we realized, there's a couple of wasp nests here. So we flagged the areas. We don't want people going in there when there's a wasp nest. I know where they are. There's no surprise. And it's cold this morning, so they're certainly going to be slowed down. This tree's kind of weakened. Really do want to show you this. Our first, I call it our poster child. Our poster child tree for showing what grapes on our nitrogen fixer looks like. And you don't see it so well. We had people picking. They probably picked 50 or 60 pounds of grapes on just one kind of grape. And so as they were really ripe, the clusters, they picked them. But you can kind of make out in there's a grapevine in this tree, and we'll see it closer. So it's our Somerset grape. Absolutely, if you're gonna get one grape in a cooler climate, get this one. It's incredible. Now the low ones have been really picked out, but check this out up there. Let's see if I can show you up there. Here. And even some of the low ones. So some of the low clusters of grapes. So that's what we want our nitrogen fixers to look like. It gives an idea of what's coming up, and you go, wow, we've got, I don't know, at least probably 100 more planted that just haven't, they're 2 or 3 years old. They haven't grown up quite as much yet. Like little jewels of delight, these grapes. It's just great. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, that's where they came from. I see there were some other grapevines that were just loaded. and they're absolutely emptied. That's what I like to see. I don't like to see a plant that's got a harvestable crop that's full of crop. I like to see it picked. And you know what the best thing is? I haven't had to pick it. That is a good thing. So this is a dark, I think this one might be Montreal Blues. But it all got picked. People came, picked, paid. And yeah, that's what it's all about. If you're growing for yourself, then great. Pick it. I'm not growing for myself. I mean, let's just say we got a whole lot more than what we need. And so we do sell. And it's great to sell. And it's great to sell. Just look at the fruit that fell as people were picking, and as it got old. So there's a lot of fruit there. Yeah. Some of these trees, I mean, that's a pretty good fruit load. And look at how nice they are. These happen to be a little smaller. I'm not sure what this tree is. I wish I knew them all, and some of you probably are screaming at me, say, how can you not know what you've got? Well, sorry, we've got probably 60 cultivars of apple left. Here's a nice surprise. These are M106. This is actually the rootstock. But the rootstock gives a pretty good apple. It's not really a wow. I'll try one. I don't eat many apples anymore. It's pretty good. Not my taste necessarily, but pretty good. It's certainly good enough to press for juice. Just want to show you our wasp nest. I'm glad to see wasps. We hope to maybe we'll have the wasp video out before. So we put in our flagging tape. And see that nice wasp nest there? I'll come closer. They're cold, so they're not very busy this morning. But I love having wasps. I love the sound of wasps in the morning. They sound like victory. Some of you are getting tired of hearing that. It was funny to hear on the weekend. Here's another, this time it's an apple tree that's got the grapes growing in it. And most of the grapes, in fact, if you look at that, we had such a fruit load on it that it broke the branch. And that happens. This year especially it happened. We had quite a few trees. We had a bunch of pear trees. Actually, almost all our cider pears broke right down in half. The top broke off. So I was just going to say, there's another one. Is there a tag on this? Should be a tag here. Hey, Bo Dog. So we had our tour Saturday, and Andy, if you're watching, a shout out to you. That was a good one. That's when I realized people watch the videos pretty diligently. Andy came around and says, oh, that must be Bo the dog. I don't know how many times I've mentioned Bo as the dog, but it was interesting that he knew that it was Bo the dog. So here's the line between our replanted orchards and what's left of the old orchard, the old organic orchard, and areas that we're going to replant. So I just want to show you this. We've been sending people here to pick apples because it's really apples. We have a promotion right now a 2-for-1. First time we try. Always willing to try how to sell things differently. We used to give a whole lot of apples free when we had a fruit load like this. And I realized I actually scared people away. People would say, I saw that you were giving all these apples. And I thought, what am I going to do with this many apples? And I thought, what? You won't want to pick because you didn't know what you were going to do with 80 pounds or 160 pounds of apples? So I thought, geez, when I give that much fruit away for free, it scares people off. So what am I going to do? So this year, I tried a 2-for-1. So yeah, actually you buy one, you get one free. I'm not into I'm not into selling by giving discounts, but I thought I'll try if this is what people are used to. So here's our rebuilt trees because we gave these a huge pruning. See that big pruning cut there? And the trees have been rebuilt and they're producing this is Jonah Mac, one of our old cultivars, looking fantastic, especially such a heavy pruning on the trees this year. So they've produced big fruit. I love to see this too. All here, this is all our Paula Reds. So you see there's a few fruit left in the top of the tree there. But otherwise, everything is picked off clean. I like that. There was a lot of fruit went out. More than a ton of fruit went out just this Saturday. And so it's great to see. It's great to see. It's also great when you do the math. It was a great weekend. Yeah, so these started to be picked, but the Paula Reds have pretty well been picked out. We're going to have to come back. Some of them have some fruit at the top. We're going to have to clean up and finish that off. But otherwise, these are done. These are done. Great to see them being done and picked. We have a little bit of pruning to take out. We got a bit of fire blight showed up in some of our... We don't usually get fire blight in our apple trees, but we got some this year. Go see the fire blight video if you don't know what that's about. And now that we're picking them off, it's nice to be able to come through, and we try to do a finish. When we've picked the rows that they're picked, like the Paula Reds, we'll be picking all the ground apples, and that's really important sanitation. And then we also can do a pruning of, at least for fire blight and dead branches. They're easy to see now. They're not always so obvious in the winter. You think, well, yeah, I mean, I've pruned long enough, I can tell a dead branch, but sometimes they're not really dead. They're just weak branches. So here's one example. So you see the top is all, so that whole top can come off. It doesn't matter. There's no vigor left in there. So it's important to, it's good, and it's easier access now than to wait for late winter when we're pruning, where usually I pull a tarp to put the branches, or a sled. I hear the pit next door is warming up their equipment, so it's going to get noisy back here in a bit, because they're going to be doing some work. Just show you some of the crop load of the cultivars coming up, and it's pretty wild. It's wild to see such a great harvest. I love to see a great harvest. And if you did see the Walkabout, this is where we walked through earlier in the season. I guess it was probably June or July, but now you see, as the trees the fruit has colored properly, and you see look at that. And a dead top. So some of these trees, these are 40-year-old trees. They're 10 years past due. They're on dwarf M26 rootstock. They're supposed to be done with, and some of them are. You'll see there's spots here empty, which is great because having it solid, although it is pretty solid, but having it complete with trees, trees everywhere is not the best. Then you start getting the problems of a monoculture. But this block, even though it's just a little distance from the permaculture orchard blocks, is really benefiting from the permaculture orchard proximity. And so the control of insects here is really good, and it's much more open even than the front permaculture orchard block, which has a lot more trees, a lot thicker. So these actually get better aeration than the front trees. Aeration's good. It's important. You want your trees to get lots of air. But I mean, look at that. That's a pretty thing there. I was watching Greg Judy videos and hearing him extol about, look at that fat cow and that fat cow. Go see Greg Judy's videos. If you're interested in animals and mob grazing, Greg is doing a fantastic job of educating people, showing you what you can aim for. And that's that's really the idea. Even these videos, just to try to give you an idea. This is what's coming for you. If you've been planting your trios, and start with 2 trios, go see that Just Start video. You don't know what a trio is, go see the video explaining trios. And just to give you an idea of what's coming up. This is what's coming up for you. Yeah, this is what's left of an organic orchard, and it's changing. It's changing over. We've been replanting. We had the nuts back there. I didn't show you, but we put in 600 nuts. Go see the video on Go Nuts, I think it's called, anywhere where we do the planting of the nut trees. So we did that. So we got a whole nut field. The whole north end of the orchard is all nuts. But this is what it could look like. This is what your trees, it's great to see what you're going to be expecting. And you're not planting radish here. It's not a 30-day crop. It will take some years for your trees to reach their peak. But let me tell you, once they do, and you get a year like this, it really puts those hardship periods to rest. Like, I don't remember. I guess that was a frog. Lots of frogs this year too in the orchard. The few snakes, we've been seeing some of the snakes. We want snakes. And anyway, it's just so nice to see what you can expect, the harvest that you will get. All right, we're almost out. Now we're back in the open area, but the orchard here has produced, and will produce. I don't count my crop before they're actually sold or picked or juiced, because you know what? You can see this and go, look at this tree, it's loaded. We're gonna have a huge harvest, and it's gonna be great. Things happen, and this could look like this, and we've had a freak little wind come through and would knock off over 90% of the fruit. So even though it's like this, and they're still 2, maybe 3 weeks away from being harvested to be at their peak, I know stuff can happen. And that's one reason commercial orchards tend to pick fruit before they're ripe. They pick them before they're ripe, before they're perfectly ripe. One, to keep them so they'll store, which I don't like to do because I don't want to store apples. But I also don't want to pick fruit before they're at their best. Like, why grow fruit if you can't taste it and you go, yeah, this is really great. Go see that, my top 5 apples, and I give you a bit of an idea of what goes into choosing an apple that'll make you go, oh yeah, whew, this is really a wow. Yeah, the frost has burnt off. We had it in these open areas. But that's okay. Frost is part of the season. This is another coming up later in the season row, just that I mowed here. We have heavy dews at this time of year, and my boots are already wet. So I don't want to walk through the taller grass. We did as well this year, everything was done by roller crimping. Let's see. This row, yeah, this was crimped. You don't see it so much, but this grass would have been roller crimped. I really do like that technique now, and this is the second year we've been using roller crimping. By all means, use crimp. If you've never done it, try it. You say, well, then I have to buy the tool. Well, maybe you can find someone who will rent one to you, but it's really worth roller crimping. If you're in any bit of a dry soil, or especially a dry season, then it's made all the difference. We've actually been able to keep our grass green throughout, and we had 5 weeks no rain, and so the roller crimping has been amazing. Here's one of our, some of you say, well, what do you have? You just have honey locust. No, this is Kentucky coffee tree as a nitrogen fixer. And I just passed one of the autumn olives, so we put in autumn olives and gumi as nitrogen, other nitrogen fixers. And yes, there's honey locust in here. Here's honey locust. So nitrogen fixers, yeah, we've got everything that we could grow here except for the alders. We don't have any alders. But look, and they're beautiful. Look at this. The honey locusts are starting to drop their leaves. We are mid-September here. Here's the black locust. Some of you are familiar with these spiny ones. Just funny to see. Here's an old strawberry plant. It's got good leaves, and it even is putting out some runners. But I no longer expect to get, these are remnants. We had strawberries, we had raspberries. They did really well in the early years. If you're planting, put in raspberries, put in strawberries, but don't count on them being a perpetual perennial crop in your permaculture orchard, because they're only going to grow really well while they have good sun. So each plant has conditions, and your orchard will be headed towards more and more of somewhat of a forest type. Go see that intention, momentum, direction. That video really explains that you start something and then it will change. Here's one of the nitrogen fixers. This is what autumn olive garnet. Not darnet, garnet. Yeah, the blue jays are in here for the hazelnuts. Let's check those out. Where are we? Some of these hazelnuts are, and a big shout out to Phil Reuter and Ernie Grimo. These people have done an amazing job at improving, and I'm sorry if you're some of those who have really contributed. I don't know everybody who has, but they've contributed a huge amount to make hazelnuts more than just a so-so crop, but as an unbelievable crop. Like, look at these. That's something impressive there. When you start getting hazelnuts in clusters of 4 and 5, that's a 3. Oh, the chipmunk's in here. Bo! Chipmunk for you. Bo does like chasing the chipmunks. So these hazelnuts, yes, a shout out to Philip and Ernie, because boy, I did not, if you had asked me 5 years ago, you know, I said you can always grow hazelnuts, but could you actually get a commercial crop? And now I look at some of these hazelnuts that Frank Tooten planted these for the vegetable area right here. And boy, hazelnuts have become something else. They are incredibly productive now. Bodog patrolling for voles in part of the vegetables. So all this here has once been vegetables. All this, we've taken out trailer loads of squash, especially. I remember squash, boy, squash. You got to find out what grows really well on your soil. Look at these, look at these, look at these. I mean, I like these red husked ones. If you guys are breeding nuts, hazelnuts, try to select for these, because when you go to pick, being able to pick a red husk is so much easier. Look how easy you can spot those. You know, you can see those easily, while when they're green husked, they're just not as easy. They're really not. They hide in there. It's like, it's cryptic, camouflage. These are starting to turn, so the color is changing. So see, they're getting a little brown. They're starting to detach a little easier. So these are the ones, yeah, I can see underneath. These are the ones the blue jays have been after. They like the small hazelnuts. There's a nice little trick. They don't like the great big hazelnuts. They're too hard to handle. But these little ones, and so look at, we had a kale crop this year. We were putting in one of the items on the board in terms of what's there for you pick has been this kale. We sell it. They say just bring whatever bag you have, grocery bag as big as you want, and come pick kale, because my goodness, I'll hopefully this winter I'll put together the video on these beds, how we did these plastic beds, because this is all, I'm not interested in weeding, and I don't know many people who are. Looking, our cucumbers here, really late cucumbers, and they didn't frost though. That's good. Come on out of there, come on. So we did put in some of these beds. These we never even seeded them yet, and just explaining how we do these plastic beds, because that's the way I want to grow vegetables from now on. With plastic. Well, it all depends how much you're growing. Like, this is not a lot, but we're not into growing vegetables. Vegetables are just for our own use and to feed the crew. That's what vegetables are for. We're not looking really to sell vegetables, although as we do this more, we'll probably, so here's a few watermelon. We just put in one watermelon plant, and now they're dying back with the watermelons. Oh, I see now. Now they're ripe. So the idea for this will be we grow it on here. We'll grow it for 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 years. And then we'll take this plastic here and we'll flip it. We'll just take it and flip it over on this side, so that we'll fertilize this area of grass. Well, this is where we do the soil improvement. And then we flip the plastic, so it'll rotate. We'll do a rotation 2 years, 3 years, maybe 4 years, and try that, because vegetables to me are not. Somebody's been busy. That might be the Bow Dog, our make work project. So we've been really, I say we, it's really the crew has done a great job. I helped put together this composter. So we want to have a composter right here near the vegetable garden, and to use up. It's also a good handy place we can come in with. We'll expand this composting because we're coming in with whatever ground apples we're not selling for, we're selling for deer. So deer hunters are looking to buy apples now. And so we'll be expanding this. I see the Jerusalem artichoke is just starting to bloom. Look at how high those, that's some serious Jerusalem artichoke. I mean, that's probably, it's probably at least 12 feet high. Our pond has done well this year. I think this is, if you know anything about our soil, we shouldn't be able to hold water. This little pond here, in all the plants, there's a little bit of it's my contribution to the wetland wildlife. The frogs like it. And it's just because we had a load of rock dust dumped here some years ago. Oh, our remnants of raspberries. So we have a few plants that are hanging on the edge. Here's another. Go see the top 10 perennials. This one right now, so important for the insects. What is that? Yes, garlic chives. Really great plant to have growing in the permaculture orchard. It's just everywhere I look, I see things that they've done. It's been really, really, really nice. Really nice. So that brings us back to the starting point. Have you meet Sebastian?
Morning.
Wait a minute, where are you? From Germany? What part of Germany, Sebastian?
North Bad, between Hamburg and Berlin.
Okay. And you'll see him in the sorting pears. I don't know if I haven't released it yet. It's coming. And let's see if James is here. Is James here? Yes, James is here. James, say hello.
Hi.
James just went for his big run. I just want to show you. See how steamy it is in here? Because we've had these plums drying all night. Show you these. So 20 pounds of plums dried up. We like to have them drying for the night. Oh, wow. Yeah, they look good. See that little, oh. Yeah. Still needs a little bit of drying because it's still squishy. We also did, where are they? We also picked some mushrooms yesterday. They're starting. If you get mushroom harvest, there's some of the seeds from, we got more of them, but that's some of the seeds from these plums. That's our walkabout for this time of year. And I don't know, maybe I don't think I'll have another one coming up. But this is certainly the time of year to have done the harvest. The harvest has been plentiful. And for everybody who's been watching these videos, thank you very much, because we've gone over 30,000 subscribers a little while ago. I do want to thank you for watching. I hope it's instructive. These walkabouts are really to help you see what you can expect in the future. So You say, well, my orchard doesn't look like this. We had somebody on the tour said they had been here 5 years ago, and they said, oh my God. Oh, look at this. Hairy woodpecker. See, we don't cut the trees down if they die now. There's a little tip again. Lots of tips. But don't cut them down. If you've got a tree that's dead, just strip it, but leave the trunk. Leave a snag for the woodpeckers, for the birds. And that will attract them when they come for this. At this time of year, the woodpeckers have been doing a great job. If the apples have codling moth damage, they just look at the tree. They walk upwards along the tree, and they're looking for the apples that have a hole in it. And they're just going to spear that codling moth larvae out. We get when we open apples that have had codling moth damage, we only end up with about 2 out of 10 still have the worm in it. The others have been snagged out. So this is not what your orchard will look like when you first plant, but down the road, this is what you can expect. So I hope these videos give you a little glimpse as to what you can expect in the future. I hope they inspire you to get started. Just start. Really, I can't never say that too much. Just start, because you'll be glad you did. This is fall coming, the best time of the year to plant trees. And just start. Just put in 2 trios. If you've watched these videos for more than a year and you haven't put in some trees, you say, I don't have place. You may not have place at your place. You may be on a second floor or whatever, but maybe you know somebody who's got a yard who would let you put some trees in. You just have to ask. It's amazing what you get by asking. If you're afraid to ask, put on your big boy and big girl pants and don't be afraid to ask. You know, what's the word say? You know, ask and it shall be given to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. That's what you want. You want the overflow. You don't want to this is overflow this year. And I don't even know if I asked this year. I'm usually just thankful for what I've got, but this year, this is beyond what I asked for. So don't be afraid to ask. Get a place. Start with 2 trios, because once you see those trees start to do what they are meant to do and give you the kind of harvest that really you can get excited about, and maybe I'll try to do a video with James, because he started his project in Montana and he came back this year after 2 years just to catch up and refine his design a little bit. And I'll try to get him to sit down, and we'll do a little Q&A on some of the challenges and unexpected parts about starting an orchard. And it's just nice to see. I'd forgotten what it's like, because you just forget. You know, I'm enjoying the abundance and the harvest, and I forget the hardships and all the challenges that come up with trying to start something. So it's good to I remember now how it wasn't always that easy. So if you think it's easy, may as well change channels and watch a comedy show on YouTube, because it's not necessarily going to be easy. There are going to be challenges, but if you're up to the challenge, and if you want to be able to enjoy something like this, you just got to go through it. You got to go through it. You got to push through. You got to do what you have to do when you have to do it. And then when this happens, you'll be thankful. So thanks for joining me on this first day of fall, first frost, harvest, walkabout tour. And thank you for watching. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye. Hey,
please subscribe and check out our latest video. This